Okay, I guess this is take two, as my card, I'm using a small card because I can't locate the bigger one, got full, so I'm starting all over again. But the thing I wanted to talk about was, or is, head hunger. Um, I noticed that the first 5 days where I was on clear broth, right out of the hospital, I was only on water, and then I was able to use some Crystal Light and water and ice, and then clear broth. It was fine. I was still very tired, mostly just trying to get in my liquids, trying to get the water in. And then, the protein. Well, once I got to about day 7 or 8, and I had saw my doctor's nurse, she said it was okay to move on to soups and, other liquids. They just had to be the consistency of water. So, with that being said, I had a friend take me over to the store, to the market, and I got some tasty soups that I thought would be really good because I really got tired of having chicken broth and beef broth and vegetable broth. Okay, so I got a soup that was not tomato basil, that's a cream soup. It was tomato, some type of tomato based soup. Anyway, it was really, really good. And I got a Amy's fire roasted vegetable soup, which I thought was going to be really good. And I just diluted that to get the spices away, but still try and have the flavor. Well, I found somewhere around Saturday night. Well, let's go back to Friday night. Since I was in, I decided I was going to just do a movie night and watch 3 movies all back to back. And I remember putting on YouTube that I was going to, had anyone heard of like liquid popcorn? Because you can't watch movies without popcorn, right? And they were like, I got some responses like, ew, or one little private message was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? I wasn't really joking. I actually Googled liquid popcorn and found a recipe. I think it was a shot, some type of sweet shot, but no liquid popcorn. I was really serious, but I knew I wouldn't find it. So I wound up having a popsicle, some water, and chewing on some ice. And I know you shouldn't really chew on ice, but my anemia and that whole thing there, I try to give myself a pass on that and just deal with the gas and chew the ice a little bit. So I got through the Friday night and everything was fine. Saturday comes and I thought, you know what, it's time for me to try out one of those soups. So I pour about 4 ounces of it into my little 4-ounce shot cup, and I think I'm going to do 2 ounces, 1 or 2 ounces within 15 to 30 minutes. And I do the first 1 ounce in 15 minutes, and then the next ounce, probably like, oh my gosh, probably like 2 minutes flat I had that ounce done with. And I tried to put it away, and I was like, okay, I've done 2 ounces of it. Let's just save it for the next 30 minutes. And I found my head playing this game on me, telling me I was hungry still. And I went back and I took a couple of teaspoons, and then I would go back and take a couple more until I realized it had only been like 30 minutes and I almost finished the whole 4 ounces. And then I had a popsicle, and that wasn't enough. It was not that many calories, but I felt like I had to have something else. So then I have these pudding pops that are sugar free, probably about 60 to 80 calories each, and I had 2 of those, and I freaked out because it's like, oh my god, that's what I used to do before this second surgery whenever I was just feeling like I had to have something, and it scared the living daylights out of me because here I am just a week out of surgery and I fell back into that habit, and it freaked me out, and I had to stop and think, okay, what am I doing? And then I melted 2 more of the popsicles down because it freaked me out that I was able to eat that. And as I melted them down, they only turned out to be a little over 2 ounces, so it wasn't that bad. But in my head, oh my god, I don't ever want to do that again. Now, I will say this: the head hunger, it's real. It's a powerful thing. Your mind is. And when your mind tells you that you're hungry, it's almost like it's no stopping it. But there are ways you can deal with it. And I had to look online and see what different people had to say about head hunger and how they dealt with it and what they try to do. And it really is just a mind over matter. You have to take control of it. And I know probably I won't be able to be 100% successful at that, but at least this time around I am recognizing what the head hunger is as opposed to the real hunger. Now I know it wasn't real hunger because I'm 7 days out of a major surgery, and if you guys didn't look at the first video, I'll tell you I had my gastric revision revised, meaning I had the pouch smaller and the little port, the opening, the little opening I had it made smaller. I also had a diverticulum corrected, it's a little pouch that grew on the side of that. I had that corrected. I then had my gallbladder removed, and then I had about 75 to 80% of my stomach removed and a liver biopsy. That is a lot of work. That is a lot of healing. So there's no way that 7 days later I'm actually hungry. It was all in my mind. I'm still swollen. I'm still in pain if I, like at that point if I was sitting up for too long. I had to lay down, or, I can't lay on my left side. I still can't lay on my left side. On my right side, I'm still laying flat. So having said all that, I said all that just to say there was no way that I was really hungry. Okay, that was all in my head, but it really felt like hunger. And so what I've learned is to recognize that it is head hunger. In the days after that, because what's happening is I'm waking my taste buds up with regular tasting food. Even though it was just soup, it tasted like a rich tomato basil-y pasta, and in my mind it reminded me of that. So I wanted more and more of it so I can get that full feeling. But that was all in my mind. And after I drank the water, and I think I had some Crystal Light or some tea, I think I was fine. I still really wanted it, but I realized that it wasn't really me wanting it. It was me in my head wanting it. So some of the things that I read on the internet was drink water, which sometimes that really sucks. Drink water, but I mean it really does help. It helps to fill you up. For me, even though it's not probably the best thing to do for your teeth or whatever, I was chewing some ice, and that got that sensation of like, I had to chew something, so I chewed on some ice. And then I actually got up and started doing something else, and I started journaling to see what my feelings were and what the emotions behind, all of this. And I think what it came down to was just the weekend, because I could remember dieting all week long, and then the weekend going out with my friends, maybe having drinks or eating a little less, it became like a treat. So on a Friday night, I'd have some bread or some whatever, and so that's what that Friday night thing represented, the popcorn at the movies. That's what I wanted because that's what I had been doing. And nothing's wrong with popcorn, in moderation, without all the movie theater butter. It's fine. So that's how I'm going to have to start doing that. But the cue, I guess, was the weekend for me, because in the past, whenever I've been on a diet, the weekend has always been that hard thing to get over, and I've always gained maybe a pound or two, maybe a pound or whatever over the weekend, because I'd taken a little bit more calories, and I'd have that one day where I wasn't exercising and I might have just done something unhealthily, and then I'd go back to what I was doing. So coming up this weekend is going to be hard, so I'll probably talk to you guys about this again and see how I do this weekend, because now I am on, liquids, and I can do the different types of soups, just, the tastier soups, and something that makes me feel like I'm living and not just, a patient having broth and ice and water. It's going to be interesting. I'll share a couple of things with you that I've learned about head hunger. I have them written down, and I don't want to just read them to you. So maybe I'll put like a little, I don't know, little bullet points or something telling you what I found on the internet, because I do have it written in my little journal, and whenever I need it, I'll be able to go back to it. But I haven't committed it to memory. All of the little steps that I've learned, all the little tricks, which you can Google yourself, or you can wait, and I'll put them in now. Anyway, thanks for listening to my ramblings about head hunger. That's pretty much all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on my big fat revision journey. See ya, YouTube.